Year to ya.
Happy New Year to ya. Rikki?
Happy New Year.
Oh, that was not even planned, guys.
No,
That was amazing.
I knew you would pick it up. I knew someone would pick it up. Yes.
This is
Hey.
called We Have Been Talking Way Too Long.
This is called friendship.
Yes.
Okay, I'm done. We don't have time.
Welcome to Real WW Talk. I'm Erin.
I'm Candice.
And I'm Rikki.
Ladies, 2025. What?
How
Did you ever think in 2020, oh, can you imagine what 2025 is going to be like? Any of that?
I laugh. I did because I was pregnant and I was like, do you know that in 2025 I'll have a 5-year-old? And yeah, we're here now. How?
Yeah.
What in the it's passed so fast.
It's so fast.
The pandemic is 5 years old now. It's like
right. So listen, if you've been holding on to your COVID weight, this is the year. Okay. It's 5 years. Now it's not COVID weight anymore.
Yeah, you can't use it.
No, you can't.
I got to get that COVID weight off. They're like 5 years ago.
We're coming hard into this episode. Okay.
Yeah.
We're coming in
no
hard.
Excuses for 2025. We are not giving you any wiggle room.
None. So I thought maybe as we start a new year, we're going to start with optimism. We're going to start with hope, even though we just did that. It is hopeful that we've got a new year.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we could reflect a little bit on 2024. As you guys look back on 24, but again, kind of following along with some of our Q&A, that we had over the holidays. The rear view mirror is small. Mm-hmm. The windshield is big. So, but I think it's a good thing for us to reflect back on 2024 and celebrate the good things. Yeah. And then acknowledge maybe things that need to acknowledge so that they don't mushroom into fear or sabotage that we can plan a great 2025. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Okay. So as you look back on 2024, what is something that you're really proud of?
Mine would definitely have to be my book, because that was something that was not only a labor of love, but a dream realized, and it required effort and digging deep and all of the things that I normally run away from. And to have that as an accomplishment really, really set the tone for me in terms of reminding myself of my ability to achieve and to do. Because a lot of people have dreams of doing things. It's one thing to talk about it; it's another thing to do it. Mm-hmm. And so that gave me, I don't know, it put me in a new space of my ability to execute and my ability to do the things that God's put on my heart. So that's a highlight for me for 2024, and it really shaped my mindset even going into the new year.
Yeah. Candice, I loved that. One, I love that it's not something around weight. It's not something really that's around food, but we all know the mental portion of you to be the things that you conquered over the year. And you know what, can I add another thing for you too, that I've seen you do over 2024. And that has been really working on the perfectionism. Whew. That you have succeeded so much in that space. And I think that also helped here as you worked on your book.
I was going to say, in order to finish the book, it required me to let go of the perfection, because the desire to do it perfectly is what was keeping it from coming to fruition. And when my therapist and God brought that forth for me to say, hey, this perfection thing that we've been working on is not just with the weight. it's like the totality of the dreams that you've had for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That was humbling, because I really thought I was smarter, and I learned the power of pushing past it even when it doesn't seem right. Like my mind was telling me, this isn't perfect, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it anyway. And then seeing the fruits of doing it anyway, and how it was still able to be impactful and beautiful and all of that. And I don't even remember the parts that were imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely that. I mean, and I still sometimes, as you know, I'm still a work in progress with the perfection, but that's something I'll always use as an anchor to remind myself of how that worked for me this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. For me this year, I know I talked about it in the last episode, but I do feel like I needed to seek therapy, and not thinking about it as this extreme, like, oh my gosh, I was so depressed and I needed to seek therapy. It wasn't that, but I did feel like I was changing and things about me were changing, and felt like I wasn't as like bubbly as I used to be, and I also felt like I was angry about things, angry about like, where I'd been at my life and expectations of, what I should be at a certain age or who I should be and where I should be, all those things. And then dealing with family changes and things like that, feeling a sense of unfairness and not feeling like I was coping with that well. And again, it's not like it was any outward, like I wasn't punching walls and it wasn't like, slapping people. It wasn't like when you think of angry, it's not like I was aggressive or extra assertive, but the internal,
Yeah.
when
Simmering.
you don't express that, I did not want to get to a point where it bubbled over.
Where you were slapping people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. But we joke about it, but it's true though. Like
Yes.
things build.
And I think, being someone, I feel like I have a lot of self-awareness, but I feel like I also observe people. I like to observe people, and I feel like I just see a lot of anger in the world. And I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to add to that. So I think just seeking that change is a big thing for me, and seeking it immediately. Like it took a while to just go through that process to figure out, I've got going through insurance and all those things, but it didn't happen overnight, but saying, okay, I've identified this issue, I'm not going to put it off. So yeah.
Rikki, I'm going to add one other thing for you too that I've seen, because I know there's elements of that where you've felt probably really weak, right? Like these are areas that I can't control. And so, it kind of reduces us in a way, right? But I've seen you really exhibit strength this year in areas that have been difficult in the past, like taking control from the food side and, ordering, it's not a plug for Factor meals, but it's something that's been working for you, right? In the past where it's been, okay, at the whim of whatever's happening here, I'm going to go here to go do, or at the whim of what's in the lounge. And I've really seen you take control in a really positive way of these things aren't going to influence me anymore. I make the decisions here. This isn't happening to me. I make the decision of what comes in. And I think that's been a slow build throughout the year. So I want to highlight that for
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, I know I've shared a lot that, fast food has been a challenge for me. And then also when you do live a single person, you get tired of the same thing. So for me, ordering those meals made a big difference. And it was an area when I felt like certain areas were out of control. I really did feel like, I felt proud of those choices to eat at home and to make that consistent. And also it was helping me in my health and my weight loss.
Yeah, because I would just say I continue to applaud you too for same thing I kind of said with me. It's taking it from idea to action, like, because you can talk about things for a long time, and I know that you've express from, I might want to see a therapist or I might want to do these things, but getting past the it being in your head and being willing to walk through the steps. I think that's something that I know all of us can relate to. It's taking those steps even when you don't really know how it's going to work out. That can be really challenging. So I just applaud you for doing that.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies.
Erin.
Yeah, what about you, Erin?
Well, so I reflect back on this year, and this was another year of some pretty strong mental challenges for me, and having to let go and close some doors. Having my surgery back in the spring, which I think I talked about maybe in some point, maybe in May. If you scroll back to our episodes, you can hear a little bit about that. But that was just having to close some doors. It's so funny because the surgery, I knew that it would give me life, but it was at the cost of an old life, if you will. And having to adjust to life post the surgery. And then all of the thoughts associated with it, and really having to work through that, honestly. So that for me, that took up a lot, but I'm proud and grateful to be on this other side of it. But I actually sat with the wrestling. I journaled with the wrestling. I cried with the wrestling. I didn't shove it. And in my past, I hold on. And so for me, being able to go, okay, I'm going to deal with this now, and it's not going to be pretty, and it's going to hurt, but I'm going to let go, and making the conscious effort to let go instead of keep holding on was very difficult, but also very, very freeing. So proud of myself for that, because that translates into a lot of different areas. And then also, really, because of that surgery, I was able to start refocusing on my health in different ways, and really, really zoning in on that. So
yeah, that's what I was going to say, that I noticed with you too, adding on to since we're adding on to things, but I really saw a lot of you thinking outside of the box and really challenging what may have been the status quo for you in terms of how you approached trials and things in the past. I saw a new Erin kind of saying, I wonder, do I need to approach this differently? Do I need to add this thing? Do I need to look at some different areas and embrace the change that comes with the new season for yourself? And I dare say that you found love for things that you didn't really know. Because I know, you put your Fitbit back on, right? You have a Fitbit.
Yes.
I know at one point that might have been something you said it really didn't serve you, but being able to circle back and say it does serve me now, and now I'm really finding joy in looking at maybe mileage, or I'm walking and running, and looking at miles and stuff. And then I'm also looking at the quality of the food that I'm eating, and not just the points, and saying that to me, I think, is a testament to the new mindset that you have. And I think that's really wonderful for others. And it's been wonderful for us to kind of walk alongside you with that, because I see a brightness in you when you've seen things that are new and that are working for you.
Yeah, it's amazing what open-handedness does. And I think you also said something that I think is really important, was that wasn't working for me then, it's working for me now. This thing that was working then suddenly wasn't, that felt like restriction, that suddenly then became a good thing again. And being able to go, hey, I changed my mind on this. This works for me now.
Nothing was bad about it.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. It's not making absolutes about things and then getting so locked into it.
And I really applaud you for your control over your environment. I feel like you have been able to put up boundaries when you need to, and also boundaries with your time, but also with your food, and saying that, I know the chips or something I can't have in the house right now. and not making that a bad thing and not making that, everything. It's just kind of like, this is one thing that I'm doing to put up a boundary in my house to say this is a safe space. And if I in this season bring it into my house, it's no longer a safe space.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Guys, are we having a love fest? Like, I just feel like we need to have like a virtual,
This
like
is
a
an
hug.
encouragement fest.
Yes.
I want to hug us through the screen. Okay.
Right.
Come into our beautiful love time. Like, this is how we're starting 2025.
You know what? It's
Full of gratitude.
It is. It's full of gratitude. And I think it's a really powerful thing to call out the things that we see in each other, to call out the positive things or the ways that we notice for one another of how we're growing, because we don't always see the growth because it's that 1%. But then maybe we see a family member who they don't see the 1% every day. They see 10% all at once, and I think that's a great thing to be able to encourage one another, to help push forward.
Well, I have a question for you all.
Yeah.
What are you, if you had to think about our Real WW Talk community and this platform, what are you most proud of that we've been able to maybe accomplish as a community in 2024? Because, we've had, I just to start it off, I was really proud of our series that we did and being able to bring in some new voices from so many different walks of life, and the feedback we got about that was incredible. And it showed, it reminded me that we don't live in a bubble and that we have to embrace this whole big world when we're talking about not just our weight loss, but about mental health. There's so many different approaches to things. And I think the community really enjoyed that. So that was a highlight for me for 2024. What about you? What do you think about when you think about our community in Real WW Talk?
I love just the tips that people share. So I know, like, I was vocalizing, I think in September or October, that that was the time of year where my membership was up. And Candice, you kind of chastised me because I hadn't reached out to change it and to take advantage of the deals. And I think I remembered it being last year that you had to go in the chat and speak to someone. And someone messaged me and said, hey, you don't have to do that anymore. Like, it's really simple. So I just went into the app, said, I'm going to quit. And it was like, are you sure? It wasn't even like a chat feature. It was just kind of like a prompt that said, are you sure? And I said, yeah. And it's like, well, what if? And it gave me the option of like decreasing the price and taking advantage of another deal for another year. And it took the price down from, like it was half the price it was before. Or more. Yeah, it was more than that. So it was a really good savings for me. And also, a tip that I probably had delayed doing because I thought it was a little bit more intensive or more time, more of a time related thing, but it really didn't take long. And I think that encouragement from someone to look into it was really helpful.
Yeah, I love that. Candice, I was also thinking about the series, our Real WW Talk Plus series that we did in September. So if you want to listen to it, just go back to September 1. There's 5 amazing weeks with lifetime members, with WW coaches, and we have kind of a walking expert. I love renewed sense towards health. And that's different than the plan. It's different than the weight loss. And trying for us to move beyond the thoughts of just the scale. And I've been seeing that a lot more within the group, but I also love, I just love the positive environment. I think that's something that we hear from people because unfortunately, WW's page just gets a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate that our group remains positive. It's not toxic positive. We're not burying our heads in the sand about things, but it's always forward. The group is always like, hey, I have this problem. Can you help me move beyond this? It's a really positive space. And I also love the men that are in the group and are welcomed in the group. And because this is a space for both men and women, we just know that in the weight loss world, it tends to be more women geared. Weight loss is really geared towards women. Lifting weights is geared to men, right? Getting buff at the gym is men. And I love, because men also have weight struggles, and I love the men that are in the group, and I love the men that are vocal that they're in the group, because that gives representation.
Yeah.
So the more people that interact, I just love it. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I think that, and then the last love fest for that is the fact that we have such a diverse opinion. We have a lot of people who are doing a lot of different things. And that's always been a plus for us, I feel. It's people being able to share this past year, all the things that are working for them or not working for them. And then we have some pretty consistent posters. I'm gonna tell you, we have some people who not only share their exercises that they're doing every day, but like their journals and that sense of accountability that the group has provided, I think throughout 2024 has really helped. We've gotten a lot of really good feedback from people who are saying I was stuck, but seeing people who are willing to share and be so honest about what the daily looks like is just great. So
yeah. Thank you, because you are making the group what it is, and it wouldn't be the group without you.
Yeah. So, bravo.
Yes.
Bravo stars all around.
Bravo stars. That's a great question. All right. So, it's January 4th. We're 4 days into the new year, unbelievably. And we have 361 days in front of us.
Look at you doing math, Erin. You got
it. Which is funny because over Christmas break, we found our childhood report cards. And I just want to remind you that there's a reason why Candice is the one who handles the finances. And there's a reason why I handle the language.
There you go.
Because
everyone has their skill.
Okay? Right. Guess what I got high marks in, and guess what I got low marks in.
Plus we're talking.
That's right. So 361 days from now, we're going to be looking at January 1, 2026. And if you could fast forward to that date and you're doing the same look back like we just did now, what do you think your look back is going to sound like?
Wow. That was very well said. Rikki?
So I'm going based on the things that I kind of said I wanted to, what I would look like next year. And when we kind of recapped 2024, I would like to have been very action oriented in the areas in my life that I wanted to see some change. I'd like to be able to say that there were things I wanted to achieve and I made steps towards that. Again, not being a perfectionist and saying I did all the things, I did everything, but steps towards those goals that I have, both with weight loss and in my personal life. So, that's where I want to be.
I love that. Candice?
Well, so the question again was, where do I want to be at the end of 2025? Is that kind of the
joke? When you're looking back at year 2026, at that cusp, and you're looking back on 2025.
I again, we've talked about this, but for me, balance is kind of my word for that I want to define this year. I know that's something that we kind of do at the beginning. What's the year defined by? But something I saw that didn't really work out well for me in 2024 is I tended to follow the pattern of the really, really strong start, dwindling a little bit in the middle and kind of puttering towards the end. And that's okay. But if I am approaching this year with a more balanced kind of not needing it to be so all cylinders on at the beginning and puttering out because it's too much, my goal is just to be, I would like to be able to look back and say, gosh, that was such a balanced year. It was just, there wasn't any, not to say that I don't want to achieve in big ways, but the requirement for how I'm going throughout the year and going throughout my days isn't requiring big, actionable items or going into such a depressive place, because life is going to do what it does. That's what, we know when we go through the years. Like, I can't predict what's going to happen for this whole year, but I'm hoping that my prayer is that I give myself the grace to go through it in a place that honors the highs and the lows from here.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been my challenge in the past, has been trying to not only anticipate things that you can't anticipate and putting pressure on myself to do it perfectly and to do it bigly, do it in a big way. I would love to be able to say, hey, I lost, even if we were talking about weight, I don't know, I lost a pound a week. That was really great. I lost half a pound. I feel good. I'm just happy with my effort, and I feel good about myself. That even keelness for me is my goal.
Yeah. Steady was my word. I think when we talked about our Q&A episode, yeah, I want to continue on this steady pace that I'm in. And, Candice, to your point about like the high start, like we talked about, strong starters, poor finishers, right? I don't want to get to, and I'm proud of myself for doing it this year, and I want to repeat it for next year. I don't want to get down to November and December and throw in the towel and go, I'll start again in January. Right? I want to go into January already on the same track that I was on November and December, and recognize, hey, November and December is wild because of holiday and parties and all of the other things, but I'm not going to let outside environment, attack the inside environment. And I'm going to do the things that, I'm going to have a party tonight. So I'm going to make sure this morning I'm going to eat well. I'm going to drink water, and they're going to see some things that might be in flux, but it's okay. One, I don't have to eat everything that's there. Two, I can't eat everything that's there. I'm going to be bringing my own things, and I'm not going to be deprived because they all had cake and I didn't. That's all on me talking to myself.
So if you had to pick a word for this year, Erin, would it be steady?
It probably would be. It probably would be.
Okay. Well, what about you, Candice?
Mine would be balanced.
Okay.
Like balance, which kind of feels like steady, but yeah. What about you?
I think it's a compound word, but follow through, like maybe something along those lines. Like I followed through with things. If I had a sentence, action oriented. Yeah, action oriented.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, this is great, and I can't wait to come back in 2026 and re-listen to this together to see how we did and kind of use this as a guide for the next year. We would love to hear from you. Come join the Real WW Talk Facebook group. Just search Real WW Talk on Facebook, and let us know. Let us know kind of what you're thinking for this year, and maybe try and answer that question when you're at the end of this year looking backwards. What are you going to see and be proud of? And then start building your year out to get to that space at the end. All right. Well, we hope you have a great week. On plan. It's the beginning of the year, Candice's favorite, but it's not going to be the favorite much longer because it's always her favorite time of year to be healthy.
Because it's balanced.
Because it's balanced. It doesn't have to be a Monday. It doesn't have to be. It's just a day.
It's just a day. It's just a day. Well, Happy New Year, and let's hang together for the rest of the year.
Let's do it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.